What's going on, guys? This is Seth here. It's been a while since my last video, but I wanted to share this project with you guys, so I decided to make a video on it. This project is based off of a thread that I found on ISR TV, which allows you to use a Teensy board to convert a Fanatec Clubsport rim or non-Xbox hub. This won't work with any of the Xbox version rims. It will only work with the regular Clubsport rims, non-Xbox versions like the regular hub and the Porsche rim, BMW rim, Formula rim, and whatnot. And basically how it would typically work is just like the Leo Bodner conversion. You can install the Teensy just like you would the Leo Bodner conversion board inside of your rim, and then you would, drill a hole somewhere and have the USB connection either through a threaded socket or just a regular USB plug, whatever you're using. But it involves modifying the steering wheel permanently. It involves disassembly, of course, and modifying the steering wheel permanently, and it also requires, depending if you go the Leo Bodner route or the Teensy route, it involves a conversion board for each individual rim. The reason I went with the Teensy project, or the reason I even found it, was because I went to purchase the Leo Bodner version and it was not available at the time. It was out of stock. So I started doing a little bit of research, came across the thread that I'm going to link in the iRacing forums. For those of you who aren't iRacing members, I believe there's also a link to the project. It might be on GitHub or something like that. And I'll include that in the description as well. But basically, there's a firmware available by the creator for the Teensy that you would load onto the Teensy board. Once wired into the steering wheel rim and plugged into a USB, it would act as a Clubsport steering wheel game controller on your PC, and you could map all the buttons and fan LEDs would work. The issue I had, or not so much issue, but what I wanted to be able to do was use one conversion board and have it fixed into the direct drive wheel itself, so that I could easily swap between rims and be able to have electronic connectivity to the PC without ever disassembling or modifying a rim. I would want to be able to buy any Fanatec Clubsport rim, obviously the non-Xbox versions, and plug it right in and have it work. Fortunately, the seller who I bought my direct drive system from, the website I should say, simracingbay.com, which is owned by Tomo. He's known on the forums in the direct drive world, and basically he offers these direct drive kits. This particular one is a SimuCUBE, which basically runs off of an Ioni Pro HC drive and a SimuCUBE main board. This is a small MIG motor. But the point is, for anybody else who is in the market for a direct drive kit, or if you've already bought one from Tomo, you'll know that he has these Fanatec quick release adapters that he custom makes, which is basically a wheel side, and it'll accept mechanically any Clubsport wheel. Typically it's just a hollow tube, there's no electronics in it, but it is very well made, hard steel. I believe it's stainless steel, I'm not positive, but as near as I can tell, it is stainless steel, rock solid. When I fit any of my quick releases on any of my standard Clubsport rims, it's very tight. It does include the threaded hole in the bottom, which I do use just because I use them on the Clubsport bases as well, and it's right here. I'll bring the camera around so you can see everything momentarily, but I just like to make sure that it's as solid as possible, no chance for any play, especially because, as you can see, and if you can't, I'll be moving the camera like I said shortly, I've installed a base side plug harness out of a CSW base I had a spare one lying around that I used. There is already a lip machined in here that this plug will rest against. However, there's nothing to fasten the plug in, so I've temporarily used some hot glue until I can get some long bolts and fashion a plate on the backside that I can thread the bolts to and have this secured permanently, just like it would be on the original base. So what I've done is taken a stock CSW main harness and plug, and I wired it to the Teensy, which is inside of this spacer. Again, once I move the camera around, you will see this. And so this 75mm spacer right here houses the Teensy, and there's a gap right here, which you'll see in just a moment, that the USB passes through to allow connectivity. And I'll grab the camera right now, try and have this as not shaky as possible, and grab this light. So basically you can see I just have a zip tie temporarily holding this wire loosely right here to one of these spacers that I have spacing these two sections apart from each other. It's not holding any tension. The one that's holding tension is actually up here, and it's got Velcro protecting around the USB cord. This is a really heavy cord. It's really well made, and I forget the brand, but I'll put it in the description. But it's got a nice heavy coating, it's shielded, and all that good stuff. But if I can turn this here, you can see inside, if I could get a light in there. Let's see if I could get the light on it. There we go, a USB plug right there. That plugs into the Teensy. So this is how connectivity is made. I will be fashioning some sort of bracket with a threaded, more permanent plug that I can plug in and unplug easily, rather than having, you know, just like a releasable zip tie there, just kind of temporarily holding it in place. So that will be something that's upgraded in the future, but I wanted to get the project at least somewhat completed so that I can get, you know, to testing and seeing how it all works. And another thing I just want to show you guys is I have a voltmeter here, and as you can see, let me get this light again, there are spacers. I only had 3 spacers left over, so unfortunately I had to use spacers on every other bolt and rubber washers on the remaining. And I just don't like the way that the rubber washers fold over and look like crap, so I will be replacing them with spacers, but they do prevent any contact between the washer and the nut and the slip ring, I believe this is called, that goes on the axle of the motor shaft. And I also have some electrical tape around the bolts, and these spacers are plastic. So basically my goal was to insulate. Sorry about that, I had accidentally hit the power button on my camera there. So anyways, like I was saying, I wanted to insulate this section here from all the way forwards up to the shaft here. And the reason I wanted to do that was because I've heard of some people having electromagnetic interference, or EMI, from the servo motor up to the shaft, that would, or up to the quick release, that would interfere with some Fanatec converted rims and other USB based rims that use, you know, a USB button board and whatnot. I've never experienced anything like that, but I wanted to insulate it anyways, just as a preventative measure. And I'll show right now, if I turn this to show continuity, and basically that'll just, as I'm sure many of you know, it'll just make the if I can get it, come on, it will basically cause that noise if these two ends touch. So you can use it just to make sure that you have a solid insulation if you need to, or you can use it to make sure that you have good continuity. So basically I have it just into the gray piece right there, going down, touching the axle. If I touch on the gray, as you can see, get this out of the way, it'll connect. Same with here, here, here. But if I touch the bolt, nothing. Same with if I touch up here, nothing. I touch the axle down here, it'll go off. Here, 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 all this, but not the bolt and all the way forwards. And that's basically what I wanted. I just didn't want any connection, any unwanted interference to be able to travel through the motor shaft up to the steering wheel and interfere. Because of course the board inside each hub and Fanatec steering wheel is connected by ground to the main frame and quick release, one of the quick release bolts on each rim. So that should keep things isolated. As you can see, I have a coiled wire. It just kind of passes under and goes to here. I have this set up so that it's held down right at this point, and that just kind of helps guide it back on the thinner part of the axle. I have this set up to go 2 full turns right now in each direction before it starts actually pulling on the wire at all, or pulling on the cable. So that's 2 turns right there. It's 1 back, 1 to center, and then 2 the other way. And that should work just fine, I believe. I haven't played with it too much in game yet, but I think it's going to be just fine. So, anyways, that's that. And now I'm just going to show you how everything connects and functions. Hopefully it'll all go as planned. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the hub. Oh, real quick, I do not have the Fanatec drivers installed right now, and the only reason I don't is because the rims will show up just as like a Clubsport base, so it won't show a rim in the property page. When you go into the control panel, it won't show a rim to show button inputs. They'll all work. You can still use the Fanatec driver and map everything in game, but for the purposes of showing the inputs on this video, I disabled the driver just so the generic Windows property page will come up and you can see all the inputs. So first thing I'm going to do, plug this in, and so you can see this has got the standard Fanatec plug in there. And if I could center this while I'm standing, I'm not used to doing it from this position. Alright, let's slide that back. It's on. And then I just plug in the USB. That's that. And hopefully you guys can see this, but if not, I'll bring it closer momentarily. I'm going to go into the control panel, I'm going to select Clubsport wheelbase, and it's going to come up with this page right here. Let's bring that down, and if I push the paddle shifters, we got 15, 16, we got all these buttons here. These are 8, 7, and 10, 3, 1, and 2, 21, 20, and 19, 12, 4, and 9. Some of these have some odd spacing. And then if I do the funky switch, it does the directional as it should. And if I rotate the funky switch, left is 17, right is 18. And then the buttons on the tops are of course just duplicates, so that's the same thing. That's the universal hub. Now, hopefully when I take this out, it doesn't pull the plug with it. If it does, I'll just have to fiddle with it and get it back in there, but because like I said, there's only some haha, success. It did pop out a bit, but it popped right back into place. And it still looks to be lined up. Okay, so let's place this down, and we're going to do the Porsche rim. And I think, well, I might as well close out of this property page just while I do that. Actually, you know what? I can just leave that right there. I'm sure it'll be fine. Oh, you know what I didn't show is fan LEDs, but I'll show that with this rim right now. Connected, and same thing, left one's 15, right paddle is 16. The cool thing is you get the mouse functionality. Hopefully you can see what's going on here. Let me bring this up so that you can see the inputs working. We got 8 and 10. We got 3 and 1, 7, 9, 4, 2. We've got the directional. We've got 18 and 17 for turning. Pushing in is 13. We've got 6, 5, and 11. So those are all the inputs. Let me get down to the camera here, see if these are showing. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like you guys can see them lighting up. You can't see the whole thing in there, but that's okay. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show fan LEDs to show that that works. It also, the vibration works as well, which is nice. So let's open that up and you should see right on the rim everything as it should. The rim's vibrating right now, and that's into fan LED settings there. So let's turn that off, and if there's anything else to go over about this, let me just think here. That should be everything. Hopefully you were able to see the inputs on the screen. I'll actually pick this up once again and just go into there real quick one more time just to make certain you know, that you guys could see all the inputs were working. So let's go like so. It's all working, and you can see if I do the thumbstick, it does the mouse. If I push in the thumbstick, that's input 12, and then I go to the other side, scrolling, D-pad. So yeah, it all works just as it should. Even the little button next to the LED here counts as an input that you can use. So that's nice. Anyways, that's it for this project. I'm going to put links in the description to the iRacing thread, and I believe there's another project write-up, like I said. So if there is, I'll put a link to that as well. Any of you guys who haven't seen any of the photos I've posted on Google Plus lately or anything, it's certainly been a while since my last video, so there is a lot new on my rig. I'll be doing an update on some of the gear. Typically I don't have a Thrustmaster shifter mounted, but my Clubsport shifter over there is in repair. It's got some issues, so I actually fixed all but one thing. I just got to do a couple little adjustments on it, and then I'll mount it back up. Some other stuff over there, but anyways, I know I'm running Elite pedals. To be honest, I really like these pedals. I do have other higher quality pedals. I have the Clubsport version 2s, but I really like them. I also have this HE shifter that I got recently, the Husingveld Engineering. I love this shifter. I think it has an awesome, nice, solid, and tight feel to it. Also have the Ricmotech button box, which is another awesome piece of hardware. Much more than meets the eye with this button box. I was actually very impressed when I started learning all of the features and capabilities. So anyways, that's that. If you are interested in a direct drive system like this, I definitely can recommend Tomo from Sim Racing Bay, especially if you have Fanatec rims and want to just be able to get going as soon as possible. This quick release is really useful. It connects right to a 70mm PCD, like a standard rim. The spacer doesn't come with that. I put all that on, but this piece does here, and it'll get you up and going right away. And it also enables you to do what I've done here, which is install a rim conversion right in your motor shaft and have plug-and-play Fanatec rims. So anyways, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Until next time.